Welcome. I am honored by your presence here with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And our guest today is Julian DeVoe. Woo!
Yeah.
I am so honored to have you here, Julian. And Julian is coming to us all the way from Costa Rica. And let me just share a little bit about him before we give him the microphone. Julian is a wellness educator, body worker, detox specialist, and progressive movement teacher. He joyfully, and I can testify to his joy, he joyfully works as an advocate for well being, thriving health, and personal transformation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so honored that you are here, Julian. What's up with you, brother?
Oh, thank you. It's always good to see you, and it's an honor to be here and to be a part of this. So yeah, pura vida, as we say here in Costa Rica, living
And
the dream.
truly, truly, Julian, your way of life truly is pura vida. It really is. I must say that I know Julian personally, and he really is an advocate for well-being and wholeness. Julian, share a little bit about what you're going to share with us today, if you don't mind. Give a little precursor.
Yeah, so the breath work that I'll be sharing today is called centering breath, and it's something that I've continued to go back to over the years through all the work that I've been through when it through yoga and shamanism and well-being. I just go back to the basics. I continue to go back to the basics, and I find that this centering breath is one of the primary things that we can do to develop a good breathing practice. So that's what I'm excited to share. The basics.
Yeah, we all breathe, right?
Yeah,
You know, I,
hopefully.
I would like to begin asking a couple of questions. And my first question is, what was the crisis? I put the word crisis in quotes. What was the crisis in your life that brought you to do what you're doing? Or what was the crisis you saw in others that motivated you to begin doing what you do?
Yeah, good, great question. The I was about 23 or 24, and that was the starting point. It was kind of a series of crises or a series of slow burns up to that point, and I wanted to make some shifts in my health and my well-being. I
Mhm.
was I was bartending at the time, and I enjoyed the party lifestyle, and I decided to eat a salad one day because I figured that was healthy. And up to this point, I had digestion issues for years and years, cramps, constipation, heartburn. I was riddled with allergies, and I just thought this was part of being normal. I just thought this was the normal human experience. And so I had this salad one day, and I got really bad heartburn, and I had enough. I was like, well, I'm trying to eat vegetables. This is what seems to be that most people recommend to do, is to eat vegetables. And when I did this, I had heartburn, and I went home later on that day, and I told my mother. I said, Mom, I have heartburn. I'm trying to have a salad. I'm trying to change my ways. I said, this is crazy. I'm not eating anymore. And the look of an Italian mother was kind of shock and horror, and also like, oh no, you're not, sort of thing. So that was really the start, oddly enough. And I actually did do a 3-day fast, and then my mother she started baking apples for me for some reason. I don't know why, and saltine crackers to get me eating again because I'd resisted. And that actually started, there was a deep reflection over those 3 days. And that actually started a wellness journey that led all over. I started going to see a homeopathic doctor. And then from there, it went to body work and acupuncturists and craniosacral therapists, massage therapists. And I started putting myself on a series of cleanses. I started practicing body work, craniosacral therapy, and Thai massage, and it just took off. It just took off from there. I just continued to have experiences, and there was another kind of awakening moment within that where I was working on a client, and I started to see his guardian angel. And then I started to see more and more guardian angels or ancestors coming through during my sessions, and I thought I was going a little cuckoo. But at the same time, I felt safe. I wasn't, being told to jump off the roof or anything. I didn't fear for my own safety, none of these sorts of things. And I also recognized that it would be hard to explain this to people. And that's what led me to work with shamans in the Amazon. And then it just continued more and more. So yeah, that's the short version, the very short version.
That's really amazing. I love how you say that you had many burns up until the age of 23, and the burns was the heartburn and did I hear you say acid reflux also? And then the salad just turned your tummy and you made the choice to just go do, be, have differently. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in the Amazon?
Yeah. I can. That was a very interesting experience. We were there for plant medicine work, and it was with a group of traditional shamans. And my first medicine experience was actually the night of my 27th birthday, and it was a full moon and a lunar eclipse. So the stars were literally aligned, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I thought I did, and I had a wonderfully intense experience in which the medicinal plants and the spirits of the Amazon basically came to me, and kind of like a stern granny was like, you need to really look at what you've been doing to your body for the past 26 plus years. And basically all of my past partying came out during that first experience. And it just made a huge shift and transformation. And it wasn't just that. It was that working in the shamanic way really opened me up into different philosophies, and one of which is the notion of animism, which is that everything is spirit. And this is how a lot of the teachers would talk down there, is they would say that everything is spirit, from the trees to the animals. I mean, those kind of make sense to some degree, but then the rocks and the dirt and the table and the chair and the cars and everything is spirit. So it began to open up this really interesting inquiry and this beautiful way to connect and empathize with the world and people around me. And one of the wonderful things about some of the shamanic practice is that since everything is spirit, we can then begin to communicate with things like our emotions. And one of the things that I also live with to a certain degree is a low level of anxiety. And this, the breath work will come in for this, but this low level of anxiety, I thought it was something that I needed to get rid of or eliminate. And in the shamanic mind, this anxiety was a spirit. And since it was a spirit, I could then talk to it. I could communicate with it, and I could learn from it. So I've taken the approach that when I have certain emotions that come up, I can then sit in meditation and I can learn from these emotions as if they're my teachers and as if they're my friends. Because what I've grown to realize is that some of the emotions that I have will come and go, and it's not about eliminating anything. It's not about gaining anything. It's about inclusion and integration. And what I began to learn from things like anxiety and anger, is that they can be useful allies.
Mm.
And through these conversations, I've learned many things: creativity, breath work, movement practices, diet practices, well being practices, and ways to connect with the planet. So, again, that's a that's a drop in the bucket. But yeah.
I agree with absolutely positively everything that you're saying. And I want to ask you a question. When you were in the jungle, well, a couple of questions. Were you introduced to breath work there? And do you view your breath work, your breath, as spirit?
Great question. Great question. I was actually introduced to breath work in college during a yoga class, and I would practice breathing in yoga normally, and it was good. I was able to do that. And then when it came to being in the Amazon, I really learned the value and the importance of breath, because it wasn't just reserved to a yoga mat. It wasn't just reserved to certain situations. It was basically like, oh boy, this is really intense. There's really only one thing I can do now, and that's to breathe. And that's to breathe. And that's the only thing I had. And the breathing allowed me was an anchor for my experience. And it allowed me to not only be with it in a way and to be clear with it, but also to go deeper with it. It wasn't about pushing my experience away. It was about being able to sit and be in that. So, and to the other part of your question, I really love that you asked it that way, because I get a little nerdy about inspiration and respiration. I look to the Latin root as the word being spirare, which, this is out there now, and which means spirit. So I look to respiration, inspiration, as bringing in spirit. And I think as I've now begun to grow into a spiritual practice, and some of the things that people will ask me, well, how what do I do? How do I do the spiritual thing? And they think it could be, prayers or smudging or chanting or different sort of going to group gatherings or whatever it might be. And uh, I'll suggest that they just start with breathing, and that brings the spirit in. And of course, we see this also in the yogic understanding of prana or pranayama, and we see this in the farther east as well, being chi. Things practices like qigong or tai chi.
Mhm.
So not only do I see this as a sense of as a spiritual practice, and then in addition to bringing spirit in, we then have the opportunity to allow spirit to flow out of us, and this comes through voice or conversation, and or laughter, jokes, these sorts of things. And again, I flash to my shamanic experiences in Peru, and I would always be reminded that when you bring breath to something, you bring an additional energy to it, and it empowers it. So, that's another way of saying be careful what you say. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
Thank you so much. That is so, yeah, breath is spirit, spirit is breath. And even though you've touched on this a little bit, can we go a little bit deeper and and I ask you, breathing, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you? Can you just go a little deeper? What does it mean for you personally? And then we can expand it and say why breath work is important. Expand on what you've just said.
Why is it important for me? Let me take a breath. For me, breath is not only connection with myself, but it's a connection with the external.
Mhm.
And breath is relationship. And it's a relationship with the plants around us. It's a relationship with the bacteria around us, the microbiome. And it's a way for us to develop a deep sense of empathy with who we are as we express it in relationship with the world around us.
Please say that again. Please say that again.
The how I see breath is that breath is a form of relationship, and it's a form of relationship with self and the external. It's a connection to the natural world, plants, animals, bacteria, and it's also a connection to something greater. And what that allows us to do is that allows us to drop into a deep sense of empathy or connection with the world around us.
I bow to you, Julian. In this current day, what you've just said, which is why I asked you to repeat it, it's so important for us to have empathy to ourselves and also the world. Thank you so much for that. And that leads us into what exactly is your centering breath?
Yeah. So for me, centering breath is one of the most basic forms of breathing that we can do, that we can apply all the time. It's something that we can do in public. It's something that our body wants to do. It's basically the fullest expression of our natural intake and inhalation and exhalation. It's the naturalist way, so to speak. That's the way I see it. I'm sure that I'm sure we could debate, but that's how I see centering breath. That's how I define it, and it's a way for us to, exactly as it says, to center.
Yeah.
And it's a tool. It's a useful tool that we can apply when we're watching movies, standing in line at the grocery store, having a tough conversation, exercising, sleeping. And it's, to me, it's the bedrock. It's the foundation for a thriving lifestyle, and a natural, to embrace a natural state of well-being.
I just have to breathe on that. I mean, you just motivate me to just have more breath in my body. And those are beautiful benefits. You know, I hear you saying that breath is just life. It is our answer. It's the alpha, the omega. Can you lead us in a little experience of the breath?
Yes, I'd love to. I'd love
Great.
to. So if you are, this breath can be done standing, seated, or lying down.
Mhm.
So take one of those positions. If you are standing, have your feet about hip width distance and parallel. If you are sitting, have your feet flat on the ground and parallel. If you are lying down, get comfortable on your back. and softly allow your eyes to close. And simply become aware of your breath. Without trying to change anything, notice your inhalations and your exhalations. Allow for any tension or stress to be released with your exhalations. Now bring both hands to your belly. And notice the rise of your belly as you inhale and the sinking or contracting when you exhale. Offer a sense of gratitude for all of the beautiful intelligence that lives in this area in your body, in your belly. Some traditions believe that millions and millions of deities live in your belly. Allow for your inhalations to become deeper. Work on expanding your inhalation by allowing your hands to rise a little bit more. And on the exhalation, gentle contraction. Now leave your hands on your belly and bring your awareness to your lower back. Breathe deeply into your lower back. Expanding this breath front to back. Now in that lower area, the lower part of your torso with your hands on your belly, bring your awareness to the sides of your body. And as you expand front to back, expand to the sides, just in this lower region. By focusing on this area, we allow for full expansion of the diaphragm, major muscle when we breathe. Now, leave one hand on your belly and place one hand over your heart center, the center of your chest. Maintain that deep belly, low back breathing. Bring your awareness up now to your chest and lungs. Allow for your rib cage to expand into your hand. Slow, deep inhalations, long, full exhalations. Now, bring your awareness to your mid-back, your back body. Directly opposite the hand that's over your heart. Just as you did with your belly, expand to the front side and the back side. Now, bring your awareness to the sides of your ribs, the sides of your chest. And just as much as you expand front to back, expand side to side. Maintain the integrity of your breath in your low belly and low back while you expand into your chest. Bring your awareness to the upper cavity of your lungs, the top of your chest, and really expand upward and outward from there as well. Belly, heart center, upper chest. Long, slow exhalations. Deeply into your belly and your low back. Expand into your heart center, mid and upper back, and then upper chest. Allow for any thoughts to pass through. Maintain this breathing and drop in a sense of gratitude. Perhaps charge an intention that you might have for yourself or others. offer a prayer. And with your next exhalation, allow for all of that to clear. To become a fuller vessel for spirit, for inspiration. Welcome in a sense of calm or tranquility. And you may slowly release your hands and slowly, you're invited to open your eyes.
Thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
was delicious. I speak for myself and those who are watching to say much needed and appreciated and enjoyed. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julian. You
You're
know,
welcome.
I wanted to just find out what's up for you. What's coming up for you? What are you offering? How are you spreading the word of breath work, the work of breath work, the power of breath work through the world?
Yeah. I'd like to. I would. I'd like to add a quick note
Yes.
on the centering breath. That is an extended version. That's to build the mechanics.
Mm.
So it's low belly, low back, sides of belly, chest, back of chest, sides, upper chest area. That's to build good mechanics. Eventually, it can become a very simple and fluid practice where we just remember, and then it can all be done in one breath. So as you practice, it will just become automatic. So that's just something about the breath. It doesn't have to be done like that
Mm.
for 12 minutes every time, but that's a good way to build the mechanics, and then that we'll use when you have a confrontation or you're stuck in traffic or you're waiting in line at the grocery store, or you need to think about something, or you're watching a scary movie or whatever it might be. So yes, to answer.
Can I just
Yeah,
tag on to that if I may?
yeah.
So then this centering breath, given what you've just said, does that also build resiliency within the body?
Yes. And this was something I was going to get into, actually. Thank you for. I love that word. I've been using that word recently, and it does build resiliency, and I see resiliency in is kind of threefold. And the first part of that is accepting reality for what it is. And I think a lot of times we experience a reality that we don't really want or don't appreciate, or that stimulates us, and it's a reminder to go into that breath. So I think that's a bedrock for establishing resiliency, and then from there we can find meaning and purpose. That would be the second place, meaning and purpose in that reality. And then also a useful place to continue the centering breath. Why not move from a centered place? And then from there we take action, and we can respond with spontaneity and creativity. So those are kind of the three pillars. But yes, Kathleen, that's I appreciate your question. And as you mentioned, I currently live in Costa Rica, and I work with a group, Sovereign by Nature, and we offer journeys down here, from movements to meditations, to breath work, to medicine work, and also with Sovereign by Nature, we have a 30-day resiliency program that we've created, which incorporates breath work as one of the main tenets, movement, meditation, journaling, exercise, community. And we'll be launching journeys retreats down here, resiliency retreats, where we will also go into communication skills and emotional intelligence exercises. So these are the things that are being offered. I as well, besides doing hands-on work, I as well offer integration work for if you've gone through experiences that you need to begin to put the pieces together to make the shift or the change, and one-on-one consultations, these sorts of things. But and pretty much all of them, right, usually around the top is breathing. Yeah. So that's the continuation of the work. Yeah.
So people can come down to your delightful Costa Rica. I thought I heard a bird in the background as we were breathing during your exercise earlier. So people can either come down and stay at your retreat center, or do you also offer Zoom sessions?
Yes. Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook, any way to connect in that way. I do one-off sessions. I prefer more a month or 3 month or 6 month or year programs as well. So yeah.
You prefer? Okay. So people can reach out to you. I'm going to go back one bit.
Okay.
Why do you prefer 3 month, 6 month, year programs?
I think it really takes a bit of time to develop sustainable change in our lives, and this I've learned through my personal experience, that I need someone to help keep me accountable, so I stay on task. And it's why, for example, I take guitar lessons once a week as opposed to once every 6 months. So it's a way to establish good habits, good patterns, and to actually begin to remember the things that we learn. Sometimes the one-off sessions, I think, are really nice during an acute phase, or if we really just need some support in the moment. I think that's great. But to establish a lifestyle, a wellness lifestyle, or a thriving lifestyle, I think or regenerative lifestyle, I think it takes a bit of consistency.
And it establishes, using your word, resiliency.
Yes.
That's really, that you remember it is at your fingertips. Well, this has just been so refreshing. It was good for me. So Julian, I would love for you to, well, I'm going to let you have the last word, but before that, I would love for you to share with everyone how they can get in touch with you. And also, I just want to put in that Julian has a special offer that will be with the upgrade package. Just saying. And I experienced it, so I'm just going to tell you, it's a really good one. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yes. My website, juliandevoe.com, JulianDevoe.com. You can also find you can email me via there, but my direct email is Devoe, DEVOE.Julian, JULIAN @gmail. And to find the journeys, you can, and some other programs, you can find those at Sovereign X Nature. So yeah, those are 3 ways. I receive prayers, I receive blessings, I receive good thoughts as well. So you can also reach out to me that way.
That's beautiful. Hey, Julian, don't you have something happening on Wednesdays?
Kathleen, yes, thank you for reminding me. Wellbeing Wednesdays is an ongoing every Wednesday, we're featuring 4 different healers, Kathleen Booker, the Jedi of Calm included. And we also have a non-dual Kabbalistic healer. We have a quantum healer, and we have Dharma talks on regenerative agriculture. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is a donation-based healing inspiration offering. So that is very exciting. And to me, it's part of a bigger idea around well-being and healthcare. So join us.
And where can people sign up for that?
That is on sovereignxnature.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Check out Well-Being Wednesdays with Julian and crew. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So please do reach out to Julian for more of the centering breath and his delightful place in Costa Rica, which I'd like to get to. And I'd love to give the last words to you, Julian. What is it that you would like to leave everyone with?
I think it's very simple, is remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Whatever is coming up in the moment is exactly what is meant to be, is exactly what is, and it's okay. We are all perfectly imperfect. There's nothing that we need to gain, and there's nothing that we need to eliminate. And it's useful to navigate through those experiences with breath. Remember to breathe.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that is so true, Julian. Remember to breathe. Julian DeVoe, I bow to you. I'm very grateful for your presence here with us today. And to everyone, thank you so much for being here. Remember that this will be available to be watched for the next 48 hours. Reach out to Julian. You can go on the website also, and you can get his information. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Take care.
Thank you.
Ciao.
I have my hand on it. Bye.
Bye.